Now, getting back to week 5, I saw a couple of issues with a few of the tasks of the assignment. I really would prefer um, that folks reach out to me or the class on the discussion boards or by emailing me if necessary to ask questions about problems you're having instead of simply submitting a broken or unfinished file. It's just not a good way to do things. So if I receive, Sunday night a file that's half done with no comment and no message, then you're not really going to get a lot of benefit out of that. So try to take advantage. This is a class. There is an interactivity built into this class, even though we're not sitting in a classroom together. I think those who do write on the boards and email me do see that I respond pretty quickly. And if you send me an FLA that you're struggling with, I will give you as much help as you need to get it done. But it takes some effort on your part. So what I saw this week was a little bit of a struggle with first creating an animated text on a guide that sort of did all the cool things that we're trying to get it to do. The video mentioned using a gray color for your text, and that is what I would definitely encourage you to do, because if you use white for some reason, white is sort of like the absence of color, and when you go through a color tween using white, it actually doesn't change color. So that's really not great. So some of you struggled with that. Simply changing your text color to a gray color fixed that problem. So I'm going to quickly notice I gave my text symbol a name, and I'm going to put text here. And then the next stage is creating a guide layer. Classic motion guide is what we want to use for this. And for our guide, we're going to use a stroke. And so the important thing to do for this the guide layer is to make sure you're using the registration point to attach it. And notice it kind of clicks right to this end of it. And then I can move on down further down the line. I'll add this. First of all, I'll add this. We can use excuse me, our quick keys, and we can create a classic tween here. And here I'll add another keyframe. And this keyframe, oops, I grabbed the wrong object. I'll grab it by its registration point and move it over here. And so here we have that movement. And now I can have a little fun and play with that stroke and create I guess we can use that rainbow stroke that we saw, and we can create a variable width stroke, and I'll need to bump up the size of it. So now what we're getting is not much because we have not turned on our properties in the properties panel. It's pretty dramatic. All right, so maybe some of you neglected to put on the properties, or you used a white text inside for your text layer, which is amazing, but that really will not have a great effect there. Just turning it to white. It is quite amazing how that works, but just once you know, you know. And so there's your text layer, and then some issues I saw with folks struggling with the headshot. Let's see if we have a library object for that yet. We'll use on a new layer, we'll use import to stage, and we will grab a headshot. Make that a little smaller. And I'm not going to do a lot of design on this. I just want to show you guys some of the techniques. I will make that right away into a movie clip or a symbol. It doesn't really matter. happened. Now, what I think happened with, I heard a lot about this mysteriously floating headshot, which I'm still trying to figure out how that happened. But I'm thinking folks just put their headshot on the page, created a motion tween, and then moved their headshot here, and then moved it down here and started doing some cool stuff with it. Actually, I'm going to be really started doing their twirl, then finished it. And then they find their headshot kind of just jumping back up in the corner like that. And, you know, my suspicion is that you put it up in the corner and then you created the motion tween and then moved it, and then you found it mysteriously moving back up. And sometimes when you're in that situation where you just need to go back in and you need to remove the motion tween. When things get too messy, you don't have to start your project all over again, but I would say you should get rid of the motion tween, start with a fresh untweened layer, and then place everything where you need it to be, and then add your motion tween, and then you'll probably find it a lot easier to work from there. So those are my tips for this week. My extra credit assignment is, let's say you got this complex bit of layers here, guide and text, and if you move one, you kind of can't easily move it around the stage, can you? You're sort of like stuck with it in its present position. But let's say you want to move it around. You want to have the text come here and then or down here. What would you need to do to these? What could you do with this guide and text layer to make it conveniently and easily movable around the stage, and even have that interesting text guided layer fade in and fade out? That is your extra credit assignment for this week. Click on the hand icon and answer that question, and you will get extra credit. All right, good luck.